Game on! Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 40-year-old from Langley, British Columbia, Canada. His hockey journey took him to most of my honey holes: Canada, the USA, Denmark, Italy, Japan, and ended her in my honey hole, Cardiff, Wales, where he became a two-time playoff champion and won the league. And they were about to do it again that year, um, but things got shut down the same year he was introduced to my tallywhacker. Before coming to my Devils for fun, was a first-team All-Star and led the Asian League in scoring with the Tohoku Freeblades. Way back in his rookie year, showed everyone he was ready for pro, being an ECHL All-Rookie member and an All-Star. And his winning even started before that, winning the CHA championship in his freshman year with Bemidji State, and let everyone know how smart he is, becoming a three-time All-Academic. But he will never have a gold helmet from Denmark because we put his ass out. Welcome on, Matt Pope.
You did your research. Nice, buddy.
Research team got hot today.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very
Um,
good.
I get into how we know each other. Um, well, gonna get to meet you in person again, June 14th in Cardiff, Wales, eh?
Yeah, you can't beat the first impression that you made on me the first time we met in Cardiff.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the tallywhacker.
Yeah, my tallywhacker. My under 13 pregame speeches now that I'm a coach are different than they were
Yeah,
back when I was a Devil.
yeah.
But yeah, I was naked, wasn't I?
I think if you do that now to the kids you're coaching, you might end up behind bars.
Yeah, I agree. But in Cardiff, it was acceptable,
Anything goes.
right? Just have fun,
Yeah. It worked, got the people going.
right? You guys did win 3-0, and winning is
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
And I did get topless in the crowd because I was spray
yeah.
painted as our goat, who the game June 14th is for our goat. Eh?
Hates the goat. Yeah. He's the reason I went to Cardiff and now he's the reason I'm going back. So
Why was he the reason you went to Cardiff? Did you guys know each other?
no, actually I've got a
You just saw him play and were
exclusive.
like, I want some of that.
This guy is freaking good.
Yeah, I want to
No,
play with him, please.
I've got an exclusive story for you here for your audience that nobody else knows. Well, a couple of people know, but I had committed to go to Belfast already,
Oh
and
my
then
God. Oh my
yeah.
word. Oh, this is getting greasy.
So then Lordo calls me up like the day after I committed, and I had a buddy going to Belfast, and we were going to be roommates, so that's why I went there. But then Lordo called me up and said, I hear you're not going back to the Asian League. Let's get you over here to Cardiff. And I was like, oh, you're just a day late. I already committed to Belfast. And he's like, did you sign anything yet? You know how Lordo gets so
Oh,
intense.
right wound. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, no, but they're sending over the paperwork in the next hour or so this morning. And he's like, give me 4 hours. Just don't sign anything for 4 hours. Promise me you'll give me 4 hours. I was like, okay. So he comes back with the offer, and his whole spiel of trying to get me there was about this guy I didn't know, this Joey Martin guy. He's the MVP of the league. If I come
Mm.
there, I'm going to be playing with him. So anyway, long story short, I did sign there, obviously, and yeah, we had a great season together.
Well,
It was,
I know what it's like when, like in Europe, you got to put up numbers to, I
yeah,
mean, keep having a job. And I remember when I was done in Germany, and coach in Denmark calls me, Senior Yuski. Dan Seaman calls me in the summer, and he's like, so I've signed Corey Quirk, and I want you to play with him. And I'm like, you want me to play with Corey Quirk? I'm like, I played against him in the second league in Germany, and sign me up.
yeah, yeah. I remember him from the coast as well. Good
Yeah,
player.
he was a mucker up or a little fella, just giver. But yeah, that year we ended up tied, I think, for second in the league in scoring. And you know what? It was your punk teammate that I've had on, Alex Levitt, that rolls into the Danish league like 10 games into a 40 game season, and he
Yeah,
beats me at scoring again. And he
I
played
couldn't
like
believe
a
it.
quarter of the or three quarters of the games.
Yeah, he had a magic stick that year. I couldn't
Oh,
believe it.
it was so upsetting. Like, couldn't he just let me lead one league in scoring? It's a
Yeah,
joke.
don't don't follow me wherever I go.
Just ruined me every time.
Yeah.
You guys had a hell of a power play that year, though. Eh? We're just bouncing around. I guess we're just talking.
Yeah, there's no game plan here, no agenda, but yeah, it was amazing. Benti, obviously the three of us
Are we
played
back in
together.
Cardiff? I was talking Aalborg and Alex Levitt.
Oh, and with Derlago as well.
Derlago and also the guy I won the second league in Germany with in Bietigheim, Casper Dine, the Danish
Oh
Dynamite.
yeah. No kidding. Oh,
Mm.
local, just as good as the or better than some of the imports.
Well, he was an import
Unbelievable.
for us in Germany, and I like that was the first time like I thought all the imports were like always Canadians and Americans.
Yeah.
And then that summer when I'm going there and they announced we've signed a Danish import, I didn't understand, but then he showed up and he was import caliber.
Probably a pleasant surprise.
Oh yeah, and we won it that year, and he's a great dude. And then he went
Yeah.
and left and played for Team Denmark the day after we won. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And you get to watch him on TSN, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he
Mm,
was our captain. He was a great guy, great player.
yeah, and that power play, man. Like I'm a power play guy. I liked watching them, but I hated playing against you guys because I every time I played against Levitt, he would run a power play and just make it look so goddamn easy. You
Yeah.
know, and then you go out there and try so hard, and he would just be duck feeting it around the net, saucing it, and every time he got the puck, everybody was open. And I'm like, how is everybody open again?
Yeah. I remember he would just tell me what to do. I was net front, and he would say, just try to be big, but also stand really still, and I'm gonna shoot it right past you. He's like, just don't move. I won't hit you, but I'm gonna shoot it hard. Just don't flinch. And I was like, okay. And he would just rip them by my elbows into the top cheese. No problem.
Oh yeah. But we did put you guys out, but your power play was a handful.
Yeah, he was a talented guy.
Um, okay, so back to Cardiff.
Yeah.
Um, do you think you will hit Chippy Lane when you go back for Joey's testimonial?
There's a good chance, a really good chance I'm gonna get some double deep fried desserts while I'm there.
Double deep fried desserts, that's what you go with when you hit Chippy Lane?
Well, I call dessert the fish and chips. That's my dessert. My after dinner meal, the fourth meal.
The fish and chips, eh? I don't
Yeah,
think I've ever fish and chipped on Chippy Lane. I always just go for the kebab, and you know what? They're not even that good, but I just feel like mucking it up, you know?
little K-Bob. Yeah, I mean at that time of day, you're not looking for the best tasting food. You're just looking for something greasy and
But
filling.
you also get to people watch there, and it's some of the best people watching you can do in the world.
Yeah, I remember my first weekend there. I went with my roommate Fournier, and
Mm, the Swan.
yeah, oh, just a beautiful player.
Beautiful skater.
Uh,
God. If that doesn't get you hot and bothered watching him go through the neutral zone, everything's still, but it just glides through.
yeah, yeah. Most of our time, our power play was Marty and I coming in behind him, and Forns would just wheel it up and drop it if he had to. But
Oh, yeah.
he didn't really ever have to. He was just
Right.
skated
But
in.
when those guys don't drop it back, they better get in there like swimwear because then I remember when they wouldn't drop it back to me. And I'm like, well, now I'm way back here.
Yeah, you got to bust up just to catch up to them.
And I don't like busting, you know?
They're playing 4-on-4 while we're catching up.
But yeah, that guy he's back there again, still doing her.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm. There isn't it weird in Cardiff how so many guys love playing hockey there and like they all want to come back. And
yeah.
it's like hard for the team because every player wants to come back the next year.
You
Nobody
have
wants
to
to
say
leave.
no. Yeah, you have to say no to some guys. I've never been on a team like that where, you see so many guys coming back. Even the imports. Of course, the local guys would love to play there, but I've never seen imports want to come back to the same team for not only a few years, but like a decade. That's crazy.
Joey's been like it was 10 years ago that we started playing for the
Yeah.
Devils together, both of our first years. And to see what he's done in that city, how many kids are playing hockey because of him. Like they
Yeah.
have way more hockey going on in Cardiff now than when I was there. And it's exploded how many rec leagues there are. And it's actually pretty cool. I'm on a Cardiff Centaurs jersey. They got my Two L's and Hockey Tails logo on their captain's jersey, and they sent me one. So I'm getting a pretty sweet jersey collection.
Yeah, it's
Um,
growing.
yeah, but like people in Cardiff are loving hockey, and to see how it's exploded since that first Challenge Cup win to where they're at now is wild. And it's having good people that want to come back every year, like Joey
Yeah,
Martin.
yeah. It's a good culture for sure.
Yeah.
Good
You had
ownership.
fun in Cardiff, eh?
I loved it. Yeah, my partner, now fiance, was just asking me um where my favorite place to play was, because we were going over what you might want to talk about. And I said it's tough to not say Cardiff. Obviously, just a winning culture. It's fun to win, but always a great group of guys. They do such a good job. Great ownership, great management, great city. The whole thing. There's not really anything you complain about there, and yeah,
Mm,
everywhere always has something to complain about usually.
it's very true. Um, it does start from the top down. It's like
Yeah,
I had their owner on, Steve King, just like a week or two ago before they won the Continental Cup. And like to think like the owners are like just like me, just like dudes that love hockey and are like
just
just
beauties.
they're just awesome. And
Yeah,
that those are the owners, and then they give you what you need to be a good hockey player. They buy you the sticks you need, they buy you the equipment you need, and then you see the facilities they have now and all the different things. Um, and Todd, I always say he's like my hockey mentor. Like he showed me how to, you know, bring a team together in those small details. And I try to take a lot of what he wasn't coaching, but I take a lot of what he did with a hockey team into my coaching, you know?
using that now. Yeah,
But hey,
yeah.
before we get sidetracked, um, I am having a raffle. It is to support my goat, Joey Martin. It's
Nice.
on Raffle with two L's, I think. And I don't know how you actually find it. I post the link on an Instagram and Twitter or whatever it's called. Um, but we're trying to raise money so that this time around, um, everybody doesn't have to buy my drinks because last time I didn't get my wallet out very much and a lot of people bought me drinks. I want to participate in buying guys drinks. So please help me have fun in Cardiff, Wales and get there because flights are expensive.
No
So
kidding.
we're having a raffle to help support Joey's testimonial, right? Pretty nice jersey, eh?
Beauty.
Yeah, that's my goat.
He is the goat, man.
So he was your line mate, eh? I saw you put up some numbers your first year in Cardiff.
Yeah, my first year I played with him the whole year. I think I got like 30 goals that year, and 29 of them were because of him. But
I never
he
had the pleasure of getting to play with him. Did you know Andrew Lord was a right winger too?
tough.
So apparently you don't put Wally and the goat together. You put Andrew Lord with the goat.
Yeah, it's tough to play with the star when the coach is wanting to play with the star as well. I'm
Mm,
sure.
it just like I think we got one shift together that year,
Yeah.
and we got a nice photo scoring.
Oh, no way.
It'd be like the end of a period, and there'd be a face off in the other end, and they'd like put me out with his line just for like that 5 second play. That was like all we ever had. But I
Yeah.
wanted it so bad.
Yeah, I bet.
Mm. And then after that year, Lordo made me write everything I ate or everything that went in my mouth. Throughout the summer, I had to give him a weekly report of everything that went in my mouth. And I got skinny. I was 171 pounds my last year. And I was expecting if I actually did all that work, I'd get with the goat,
Liney's, yeah.
right? And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Let's have a year. And instead, I showed up, and Lord was like, "Oh no, Wally, you're going to be on the third line. That's what helps our team. And you're going to be on the third line, and I'm playing with the goat." And I'm like, "You mother!"
He just bait and switched
He
you.
totally tricked me all summer into getting skinny.
Yeah. But did you feel better in the year though?
Well, the start of the season, like the very first exhibition game, I felt like $1 million. It felt like the best I had been at hockey in a very long time. And then I went knee on knee with a guy and was never the same. And then
Yeah.
10 games into the season, my knee went for good and
Oh
then it was
no.
over. So then I got naked and did pregame speeches and was the power play coach.
You were just the hype man.
I was the hype man. Yeah, Deese got involved too. Yeah.
Yeah, Dees is a good
Was
hype
Deese
man.
around when you were there?
He was 1 or 2 years for sure.
He's
He
a
was
bit of a
an
handful, isn't he?
unbelievable human being. What a funny guy. Some
Does
of
some
the
weird
stuff,
stuff, doesn't he?
some of the stuff he would do or say would really just baffle me and blow me away that someone would do that. But
I
man, he was
agree with you.
entertaining.
I agree with you. And if he got drinking, it was even worse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just really do confusing things. But you know what? I love him. He's
Oh,
hilarious.
you can't not love him. And he was good at what he did. He was one of the best equipment guys I've ever had.
Mm. Yeah, Cardiff. I tell you, I'm really looking forward to going back June 14th, eh? And
Yeah, I
supporting our
haven't
goat.
been
We're gonna
I
have
haven't been
fun the
back
whole
since.
weekend.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been back since, so this is like the best excuse to go and see everybody and take my family to see the city now. They've never even seen me play hockey, so
Well, you're bringing the whole family, eh?
well, just actually my parents aren't going to come. They were going to, but now just my fiance and our new little boy, which we're a little worried about that 9 hour flight with him.
Mm,
He'll be like a year and a few days old, so it's going to
hmm
be entertaining.
yeah, those days can be exhausting with a young one.
Yeah.
I am coming by myself.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Um, so I do find it neat because when I did get back from the game, I resented hockey and where it put everything in life. And you
Yeah.
don't have the bank account you set out to have, and didn't play in the leagues you wanted to play in.
Yeah.
And and then you're like, wow, and I'm 32 and I have no work experience and I'm pretty well screwed here. And
Yeah.
I think these testimonials make everything you did feel worthwhile. And it's some of the best weekends I've ever had. But like now I'm like, I guess I'm more proud of what I've done, that I can do this and everybody will answer when I ask. And
Yeah.
this is my fifth time being invited back to Cardiff since retiring 10 years ago. And I think that's
Wow.
pretty cool.
That's a good testament to you.
I think it's because I got naked though. It had nothing to do with playing hockey. It was just because I would get naked for the boys.
Like we need some sort of wow factor. Let's bring Wally.
Well, it was actually Lordo knew he was a bit much, and you gotta have self-reflection. And Lordo knew he was a bit intense, a bit over the top, but he also knew hockey's supposed to be fun. So he
Yeah.
would come in with his pregame speech and be all wowed and crazy, and then all of a sudden he'd be like, "And I got a special surprise for you."
Yeah.
And then I'd hop out of wherever dressed as whatever and do the speech as that person. I've been the Hulk, Thor, but I would be that person, be in character, naked, dressed up. And, then the boys would have a good old fashioned laugh and then they'd go out and usually win.
Yeah. You need to have fun.
You do
That's
have
the
to have
way.
fun to win.
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. My under 13 boys have a huge game later today. I'm on
Yeah.
pins and needles here. We had a 5-2 lead in the third yesterday and blew her. Tied 5-5.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Got to get
Uh-oh.
back on the horse today.
Yeah. So after the game, did you give it a little garbage can kick or did you give it a somber, it's
Mm,
okay, boys?
I didn't say it was okay.
No,
I
it's
didn't
not.
I didn't kick anything, but I said, well, their team is celebrating over there. We tied, but they're celebrating.
Yeah.
And this feels like a loss. And we all know that wasn't good enough and that we don't blow leads at the end. And weird goals, weird angles. The one that even tied it up, everybody's like, what? It's in the net. And it was just one of those games. But like, um, yeah, the other team knew that they pulled one out there because one of the people on their bench was talking to my assistant coach and I overheard being like, so who beat you guys?
Yeah.
And yeah, we're only 2-1-1 in the playoffs right now. And we got two big games tonight and Wednesday, and we got to make it to the semifinals. So pretty much sick of losing.
Yeah, two big games and then even bigger games coming up after.
Yeah, then it's semifinals. Yeah. This coach and kids thing it can get you right into the game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have anything to do with hockey now? And what are you doing?
I, same as you. I didn't know if I was going to continue playing. And then, of course, the 2020 season came to an abrupt end due
Hmm.
to that. that thing that we're probably not supposed to say, or the algorithm will
Well, it
what you're
just,
doing.
yeah, like, for me though, like with that getting shut down is, I mean, I, when I got to Cardiff that weekend for my Wally night or whatever, I kept hearing about how like players are stressed out. They're not playing that good. It's the GOAT's biggest drought he's ever been in. And everybody's stressed. And, Lord had been there for years and he is a ball of stress. But I was like, well, I think the boys need to remember hockey's fun.
Yeah.
And that was when I got my tallywhacker out and scared all you guys. And then also got topless in the crowd and whatnot after the GOAT
With,
scored that game.
with a
And
giant flag.
right. And I was trying to let everybody know hockey was fun, but I remember when I got topless in the crowd, I got the flag out. I was looking around and I saw Lordo behind you guys, just holding his head, shaking his head, laughing. And I was like, yeah, Lordo, got you again.
Probably loved it.
He did love it.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, so that's when you got it shut down. Is a
Yeah.
lot of hockey players, especially around our ages, if you're still playing, there's a lot to think about with all that going on.
Yeah. Yeah, they just shut it down, and I think it was like 3 weeks later they let us know. They sent an email or something that said, "Oh, and by the way, congratulations, you guys won the league. It's official." And we were like, "Oh, woo, that's fun." So
Yeah.
yeah, that I didn't want to end my hockey career on that note, so I was hoping to come back, and Todd was happy to have me back, and then all of a sudden it was, that virus kept just going and going, and then it was November, December, the season was still delayed, and then January came and they were just like, all right, we're gonna cancel the year. And then I was thinking, well, I'm 35, I'm not gonna take a year and a half off and then try to make a comeback. I'll fall apart out there. So then I just got a real job, and now
Join the
I'm
real world.
yeah.
What an adjustment it is, eh?
No, it was not nearly as fun, that's for sure. But
Mm,
I
Sitting in
get
the
to work
same
from
spot for
home.
like 40 hours a week, and then
Oh,
it's like we used to go to practice, drink coffee with the boys, go muck it up, and then go have lunch, and that was our day of work, and we were
go,
complaining about stuff.
go for lunch, go to the mall, walk around, do whatever. And yeah, we
Walk
used to
around and
complain.
do whatever, eh? That it is fun.
Yeah, we used to go down to Chippy Lane, middle of
Mm,
the
Jeepers, you're disgusting, really.
day.
I do
Yeah,
it, but I wouldn't be proud of it.
it's such a funny life, isn't it? Like
Isn't
you,
it amazing how it just changes in a day? Like
oh
once it's
yeah.
over, it's like, so that's who I've been, that's what I've done my whole life, and now it's just,
Yeah. So then
mm,
I'm 35 or 36 years old now, getting the same job that like a 23-year-old has, and I'm
right? And then you
20.
see all your buddies that are completely established in the real
Oh,
world, and they're all bosses and have companies, and you're like, so,
yeah.
can I have a job anywhere, please?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of successful friends, and I'm like, okay, I'm
Hmm.
just starting out in this world. Here we go.
Yeah. And
So,
the first
yeah,
time I was invited back to Cardiff for a testimonial, I didn't make it, and it still upsets me to this day. Mark Richardson invited me back to his first one, and I plan on him having a second one. But anyways, he invited me back, and when I joined the real world, did you know I only got 10 days off a year? Like 10 business days off. So it's
same.
like for me to take days off to go there and do that game, um, well, then I wouldn't have holidays for my children,
Yeah.
and it's like, so I can't come. And I feel so bad I wasn't there, but I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I know. Wasn't that the craziest thing? Like, we used to have summers off, and
Mm.
we had to do some training, but it was like you really took a month and a half off after the season, then started training,
Then
and it was
eased
like
into her.
at least. So July you start training, and then it's like, a couple hours in the morning, and then you've got the whole rest of the day going to the beach, whatever you want to do. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden I'm in this job, and it's like January 15th, and my boss is like, "Hey, you got to put your vacation days in for the year." I was like, "I have to decide what I'm going to do for the rest of the year right
Now,
now." And it was, yeah, you get 10 days off and you gotta let us know by the beginning of the year. And I was like, this is a shock. What a shock that is.
It's a shock to the system, all right.
Oh my God.
Um, I would say, well, I don't know what anybody classifies as depression, but it's like I was moving to a new town, had like, when I was in my hometown in Elmira, like I had the carpenter, I had the electrician, I had the HVAC guy, I had all my guys that knew how to do things to help me in life. And then you
Right.
move to a new town and you don't have that network, which is nice that I have that now. And coaching is fun and being on hockey teams is fun.
Yeah.
So now I have like a network again. But when you move to a new town and you don't have that, and then you don't even have hockey or your team, it was a
Yeah.
tough go, man.
Yeah, it really is.
Mm.
I started working in my hometown, so I had all my family and friends growing up, and that was like an easy transition. It was nice to actually be there for like my parents' birthdays and Christmas. I missed so many of that
So
those
much of it.
things.
Oh yeah.
And then maybe 2 years in, into my retirement from hockey, I met my now partner, and she was moving from Georgetown, actually, from Ontario.
Mm.
And she moved out to Vancouver Island, and I met her as she was coming through Vancouver. And I had to make the decision that if I wanted to be with her, I had to move out to the island. So then we both moved to the island. She'd only been there for like 2 months when I moved over here with her. And
You're just chasing love. You just met her and then you're like, I gotta be with her, and you moved?
well, it was either that, like we did I don't know if you know, the Vancouver Island has this stupid ferry. It's like a 2 hour ferry ride and it costs a fortune. So we were like taking this ferry every time we wanted to go on a date. And eventually it was like, okay, I had just gotten a promotion at work, luckily, where I could work from home.
Mm.
So then
I work
I
from home
started,
too. Cheers, buddy.
it's so nice. Yeah, this is my office.
Oh, this is my office.
That's so nice.
Yeah, that's how I end up ripping these out on lunch hours, is because, I'm salary, I work all the time. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
can I enjoy my lunch hour quick? And then I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nice. I get to make my own hours. Some days I work late. Some days I get off early, so it's
So
nice.
what are you doing?
I'm in banking, so I do like retirement investing and planning.
Yeah, you should
Yeah.
probably help me with stuff then.
Yeah, well, that's what everybody says. Like, oh, that's something I know nothing about.
Ah, man,
So
no, nothing. But you were a three-time all academic. Did you do your MBA in Cardiff?
I did. Yeah, that was
Mm.
one of the reasons I went there.
Did you
Yeah.
see my plaque on the wall?
I didn't. No.
Oh, shoot, they got me up there as a alumni.
Oh, so how did that happen?
I have no idea. I didn't even know it was up there until I started doing the podcast. And then somebody sent me a photo of it that's at the school.
No
And it
way.
says like alumni or whatever. And it has a quote from me saying like the MBA at the Met really helped me prepare for the real world.
Yeah, sure. It was
Smart,
making
man. We got MBAs, dude.
it is funny. Like nobody I know has one, and I'm like, well, it wasn't really that hard at the Met, but
The Met, what a spot.
it was fun. It was a lot of fun,
We were the first people to go to the Met, and before that, before the new owners came in, the players went to actual Cardiff University,
which
and
was
I
probably a lot harder.
a lot harder. They told me stories of it, but guess what? You have an MBA, and so do I. They're both from Cardiff.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I sometimes when people ask where I got my MBA, I just say Cardiff. I don't say
You
Cardiff.
don't delve into it that it was in the Met.
Yeah. Same with where I went to university. I just go, oh, I played university hockey in Minnesota. And I just let them assume that it was like one of the top schools if they want to assume that. I don't correct them.
So, uh, it's great school, great opportunity. I learned a lot there actually. But one funny thing to me was when we were taking project management, me and Marshy, there's a project man, you do the normal MBA stuff and then you do your project management course, one a
Right.
semester. Um, they taught us the classes in the wrong order. They the first class we took was like referencing all the stuff we were supposed to learn in the stuff that we learned the second semester. So it was a pretty strange project management on their side.
Yeah, that's bad management. They should take their own MBA. That's
But I had a
ironic.
great time. Met a lot of people too, and even had Kumar, my boy from India, that came to watch the Devils play. And what I thought was cool about it was the Devils would give us free tickets if we wanted friends or family to come, and
Yeah.
that I could bring a couple fellows from India to a Devils game. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. I remember meeting the nicest guys, a couple friends from Oman. My first, like you said, that you had to pick like your specialty. My first specialty was Islamic finance. So I
Serious?
had a lot of Middle East.
Actually?
Yeah, yeah. So I learned a lot about that. It's a different world. But yeah, we did get some people from Oman to the game, and they
Yeah.
loved it.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
Yeah.
had buddies from Oman too that had invited us over for a dinner, but we never did
Oh
make
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of international people in those
Yeah.
classes, eh? And it does teach you how to kind of get along with everybody, but you learn about different cultures and stuff when
Yeah.
you're mucking it up in the classroom with people for a year.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're just thrown into a group with people that barely speak the same language and very different cultures.
Very different cultures, and some of them do not give a flying about school.
Yeah, I gathered that some of them were just there using that school pass as like a way to get into the UK and
Well,
travel.
there was one guy, we went around a class and they're like, tell us why you're doing the MBA. And I'm like, well, I'm a hockey player coming to an end and I'm trying to get ready for the real world. And then the next guy goes, I'm doing it because I don't want to get married yet. And I was
Yeah,
like, what? And he was going to have an arranged marriage as soon as he's done school. So he's like, I'm extending this as long as I can.
yeah. Please fail me. Yeah,
Yeah. And then some of them, like, well, they didn't know how to cook. They had to eat out every meal because they have cooks where they're from.
right. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, what
It's
a
interesting learning,
different
you know?
world.
Oh God. So Cardiff was your favorite place to play?
Yeah, I was thinking
What's
Cardiff or
second?
Winnipeg. Winnipeg was up there too.
Winnipeg, like the Manitoba Moose?
Yeah,
Isn't it
yeah.
cold as balls there?
That's what my fiance said. She's like, I did not expect you to say that, but
No.
like amazing city, worships the hockey team, great party city, great fans. We had like probably an average of 12 to 14,000 fans every game. It was unreal. And they have a great facility there too as well.
I think it was earlier this week I actually looked into your rosters and stuff and who played with, but when you were there, was Mike Keane not on the team?
Oh yeah, he was our captain. What a
Man,
tank that guy was.
I was a health bomb pretty much my whole AHL career, or I played on the fourth line with the fighter. I really didn't enjoy hockey that much, but I remember watching he had won the Stanley Cup with Montreal, and I'm a health bomb watching Syracuse play them. And how hard that guy was trying in the AHL and just giving her tits out there.
Yeah.
I had so much respect watching it because you saw so many other guys that once they're not in the NHL, they're just done and don't give a
Oh
flying
yeah.
shit about nothing. And that guy was out there at 40 something years old, just mucking it up.
Yeah, I think he was 42 when I played with him. Three Stanley Cups with three different teams. He was our captain. He was blocking shots
Teams
with
win with
whatever.
guys like that. That's how you get 3 Stanley Cups is
Yeah,
playing like that guy.
yeah. He would block shots with whatever he could. He was pulling. We had a steam room in our dressing room. He would pull the bike in there and ride the bike in the steam room after practice. It's like this guy is intense.
Oh,
That's old
geez.
school.
That brought back a bad memory. When I was in Bietigheim and I tore my PCL and had reconstruction and missed like the whole year. Um, it was New Year's Eve. The coach called me and was like, "Are you done with hockey?" I'm like, "No, I'm like 25 or whatever I was." And he's like, "Well, you look like you're done with hockey. You're so fat." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "So the rest of the season, you're doing whatever I say if you want a
Dude,
contract here next year." I'm like, "All
steam
right."
room.
That turned into putting a bike in the sauna in the dressing room,
Um,
and I had to do it for 90 minutes a day.
Oh my God, just come out like a lobster.
Dude, it between my bum and my privates.
Yeah.
I believe they call it the gooch. It was as tender as a spot on a person's body could ever be because I just had to sit on that bike all the time, just the wheels a spinning.
Yeah, they don't make those seats comfortable.
Not at all.
No.
Oh man, it was tough, but
Yeah.
it does make you lose weight.
Yeah, just dripping it off.
Anywho, so I do know about riding bikes and steamers, but so you were in the HL quite a bit, and I found it interesting when I was in the coast that year in Dayton and we went to the finals. It's like we played Florida in the semifinals, and they had players that had played in the NHL that year on their East Coast team for the playoffs. And how close it can be from the coast to the HL to the NHL. You were
Yeah.
in the AHL like steady there for a few years. Did you ever feel like you were close to a call up?
Yeah, probably my first year was the closest. Canucks had tons of injuries that year. I think they called up like seven forwards from the Moose, and I had a high ankle sprain that year, missed like eight, 8.5 weeks, and
Ugh,
I was just desperate trying to get back. But my trainer was really strict. I was like, I'll pay you money just to say that I'm clear, and I'll put a cast on my foot and put the skate around the cast. I don't care.
just let me
Um,
play.
yeah, I was trying so hard to come back. It was, I mean, you've been through the injuries. It's one of the toughest things to be an injured hockey player, especially when you know that the team above you has so many injuries. And
Oh,
yeah, it was tough. Yeah.
I the injury thing in hockey, I mean, to talk about guys going through depression or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like when guys are injured, you see it in their face, like they're so sad.
Yeah.
And you don't get to be around the guys, you're not around practice, you don't go out there and have fun. You
Yeah.
go to physio and you're by yourself and you're doing all these bullshit and you
Yeah.
just want to play hockey with your friends.
Yeah, I was in Winnipeg with like 5 feet of snow, going around the city on crutches, and the team would go away because there was no close teams there. So they'd go on like a southern swing and they'd be gone for 2.5 weeks. And I'd be alone at the rink doing physio, doing stupid arm workouts because I couldn't do anything else. And it was like, you're just alone, you're sad, you're frustrated. That's the biggest thing is the frustration.
Hmm.
But yeah, that other than that, maybe lockout year, I was really excited to go to the Capitals camp, and I actually RSVP'd negative to a buddy's wedding because I was supposed to be at Capitals camp, and then they
They didn't
locked
have
out
one.
that year, so missed that and just spent the year in Hershey. But yeah, it was tough, and it really is, I became good friends with Burrows when I spent some time with the Canucks, and he was like the same as me. You start in the coast, you go to the AHL, and then he just signed this $8 million contract, and I was like,
And
all right,
he got to the NHL, and then instead of them playing on the third or fourth line, they give him a shot with the Sedins, and all of a
yeah,
sudden, Bob's your uncle.
just incredible playing with those guys. But like you look, we were looking back, and he was like, so humble, and he was like, "Oh, you have way better stats than me in the ECHL. You're gonna take my place here." And then there's just nothing. And like you said, I say this all the time to like people that don't understand hockey. You could take the bottom six forwards out of the NHL, trade them off with six forwards from the AHL, and no one would even notice. It's such a fine line
I
between those
I
leagues.
agree, totally agree.
Yeah.
I do find well, I think hockey's changed a lot since we were coming in because
Hmm.
it was very role oriented, and the bottom six there wasn't a lot of a skill.
Yeah.
It was you're gonna chip it out, you're gonna chip it in, you're gonna muck it up, and now teams don't have a problem on their fourth line having some skill on it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It's definitely a
there's a lot
different
more
game.
opportunity if you're skilled than there used to be. You used to have to be big and move.
At least have some fights.
Yeah. It is interesting looking back on it, and then you see the game changing.
Yeah. And it's sad to think what the salary difference is between a borderline guy that's making like 85 in the A versus 850 in the show. Big,
It,
big
it
difference.
it's a huge difference, and it was Todd Kelman said on here. He said we're all kind of the players that you wish you were a little bit better or a little bit worse. Because if you're a little bit worse, you'd stop and you'd join the real world younger. And if you were better, you'd have a lot more money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that middle
We're,
area that you keep the dream alive.
those are called the shed guys, folks.
Yeah. We're all on the shed.
We
Yeah.
don't have planes and we don't have millions of dollars, but we sure mucked it up as hard as anybody else.
Yeah. Yeah. When people like hear that I played pro hockey until I was 35, they just automatically assume that I made a bunch of money, but I was like, no, you were probably making more than me when I was playing pro hockey. Like any
it's
real
it, it,
job makes
it's
more.
it's like just having a normal job, but
Yeah.
like you get to have fun and love it.
And you get, 3 months off in the summer or 4 months off, so that was nice.
Yeah, unless you join the maintenance crew at the golf course just to make a few more bucks.
But then you get to golf, so that's good
Right,
too.
but then you wouldn't want to be there because you were there at 6 a.m.
True. I
Um,
eventually just used hockey as like a good way to travel around and tried to go to a different country every year.
is that what you wanted to do? Because I had some dreams, and then it's like that getting hurt thing. It's like I just had the best year I ever had of hockey. We just won the championship. I had DL teams that wanted me. Decided to stay because I'm going to play with Big Sexy Justin Kelly. And I know that the season's going to go great. And then I have a goal a game, first 4 games playing with him because he's awesome. But then I hurt my knee for the whole year. And then you got to prove you're back for a year. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you've been a second leaguer for years. And then you never do like get out of there. And then all of a sudden they don't even want you back. And you're like, oh my God, how did this go this way?
Yeah, yeah, there's so many decisions. I remember my second year in Hershey. I had an offer to go to the DEL and I turned it down, trying to,
Make it.
one more year and try to get that chance in the NHL. And then I finished that year in Hershey and no DEL team was knocking at the door and I was like, what the heck? And then I ended up, going to all the second leagues over there and never actually got to one of the top leagues. But at that point, it was just, you know, earn some decent money. Like you said, you're earning as much as you would working at home, but I tried to travel around every year a different country, and then whenever we had time off, I would like branch off to different countries there. So it was like every year I wanted to go to, 6 or 7 different countries, no matter what. So
It does, I find traveling is like education. Like you can go sit in the classroom at school all you
yeah.
want, but going and living somewhere for 8 months and getting to know the people and the culture teaches you a lot more.
You are bang on with that, 100%. I say that all the time that we should have like a 6 month, half of your final year, either grade 11 or grade 12, you should be forced to go live in a few different countries and like boarding school or foreign exchange students, because I learned so much more being in all these different places that have different taxations, different rules, different cultures. And it was like, you realize how ignorant you are when you only grow up in
In
one
your bubble.
country. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. You're right. So then you did play for the year before the Devils, you played for the Tohoku Free Blades. And fun fact for you is the year I was down in Denmark and had a season. Um, a guy that used to coach their team that watched me play that year was trying to help me, and he's like, "You should go to the Asian League. Like, this is the type of money they're making over there." And I
Yeah,
was like, "Really?" I'm like, "That sounds like an experience going over there." And there was almost every team was full at that point.
yeah,
So then there was one team left with one import spot left, and it came down to me and some other guy. It always comes down to you and
yeah.
another guy, and they picked the other guy, and then I went to Cardiff instead, and that's
Yeah,
how it happened. Which I'm very thankful that my D didn't go over there and it went in Cardiff, because the Devils took care of me afterwards and didn't make me leave and let me keep the apartment. But what was it like playing in Japan?
yeah. I remember I was so nervous going over there. As you know, they hardly have any import spots.
Hmm.
And actually, funny side note, Joey Martin and I, the GOAT, actually
Mhm.
got asked by a team in South Korea in Seoul to go play over there as the two imports. And we talked about it. Obviously, didn't end up going, but
This is before you know Joey Martin.
no, it was after we played together. So they contacted us after. I
Like your
still,
first year in Cardiff when you guys were running amok.
I think it was after, it was maybe after our, or near the end of my second year there, I think. I can't remember when exactly, but
So
um,
I'd know their goalie who's been on the podcast, Matt Dalton, who
oh,
lives.
Dolph, yeah.
Yeah, he lives around here, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to get him to my golf tournament May 24th in Kincardine, Ontario, Canada. So if anybody is around and listening and wants to come golf, I have to get 112 golfers, or I have to pay for 112 golfers, and I have no idea if I can do that. And only a few people have actually like paid me, but a lot of people tell me they're putting in foursomes, but haven't actually done so. But I have to get 112 golfers, so I'm hoping Daltz is back from Korea and golfing in my tournament.
Come on, Dolph, be there.
He said he might get a foursome in if he's back, you know?
He better be.
Golfing is fun, and having your big hockey family at a golf course is fun.
Oh, yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine if I could actually get 112 golfers at a golf course, like with just my hockey family? I think that'd be a pretty neat day.
That's a feat. That is a feat for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, and if you don't try, how would you know if you can do it?
There you go. Put the
Mm,
goal out there. That's
right?
something to reach. Yeah, so I was heading over there so nervous, and there's only a few other uh two other guys on the team that I even,
Okay,
could
should
relate
we
to.
skip past that you and Joey were offered to that team in Korea that I'm pretty sure has some money? How you guys said no to that?
Yeah, I wanted to stay. Well, we were both kind of on the fence. Um, I think we both kind of said that we would go if the other one went. Um, but I don't think we ever discussed it too seriously, and they never actually gave a dollar figure either, which might have tipped the scales a bit. But
It
that's
probably
the
would have, from
that's
what
the
I've
thing
heard.
about Cardiff. I mean, it's and this is when I finished my first year there, I was, negotiating with Todd to come back, and uh, they, as you know, what they pay in the Asian League, they can't compete with that
No,
salary wise. So
no,
you have to kind of think, is it chasing the money, or is it playing at a place
chasing the
where
fun.
yeah, where you love it. You
Yeah,
love it, great team, great culture. So yeah, I don't think it got to the point where we were like, yes, we really want to go. What are we talking dollar figure? Um, I would have gone back, but for I was there my first time when I first decided to go to Asia. I almost had like remorse after I signed, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this. My agent actually had to say like, I hear what you're saying. I get it. Going over there, you don't know anybody, you don't speak the language. It's a different world, but he's like, I've had players that go over there and they love it. So I ended up loving it. But after I think what we said in Cardiff was maybe after this year, maybe next year. Joey and I kind of settled on that. And then I remember I emailed the guy at the end of my career in Cardiff after the virus put an end to everything. And he never wrote back. He never even got back. So I think it
mm,
was like a now or never type thing. Probably didn't
yeah.
help that I was 35 years old then.
Do you know who Brad Farniuk is?
Farniak.
Mm. He was
Uh,
my East Coast roommate in Daytona Beach, Ohio, USA, and was on that Free Blades team for years before you got there. A bit of a legend there, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Frankie.
great place.
What's the food like over there?
I love,
I love food, so I'd like asking.
yeah, yeah, I love food as well. So there wasn't a lot that I disliked. Um, Obviously the sushi was out of this world, and I love sushi.
Mm,
But they love it's such a different culture. Like they love making an event out of a meal. They have a lot of different courses coming out. The men sit at a different table than their women. The women had to be over there with the kids. The men all sat at a different table and had kind of a party. They're bringing sushi boats and all
Kind of
these
like a
things.
Mennonite party around Elmira.
It was out of this world. I remember thinking, oh, this is different. But the food was fantastic. My dad's a big eater as well, loves exotic foods and loves to try new things. So when they
So did
came to
they got
visit,
to come visit too? Isn't it?
yeah,
I found it interesting with the parents is like because I went to Germany, they got to go to Germany, and like um, it was trips that they wouldn't have taken if I wasn't over there. You know what I mean?
you took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly like my parents. They never left North America until I started playing. And since I went over there, they have done an Italy tour. They've been to Denmark, Japan. Like they would have never thought of going to Japan, and now they want to go back. They loved it. So
That's
it was a
cool.
cool experience, yeah.
Yeah, it was like when I went to Western Michigan, and it was a bunch of guys from Ontario, all on Western Michigan. And well, Jeepers, it was like our parents went back to university too, because they were at all of our parties.
Yeah, that's nice that it was so close.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Jeepers creepers. Like you went to Bemidji State. I'm pretty sure if I had lined her up, we would have mucked it up against each other back then. Because I'm pretty sure Western Michigan, we went to Bemidji when you were in the old arena.
Yeah.
Andrew Murray was on your team, who I played with in Syracuse, and then he made the show.
Yeah.
And you see a guy like that was an NCAA player like you that actually makes it. But anyways, I remember mucking it up in Bemidji, an old barn, eh?
Oh yeah, that was an old barn. Holy seating just on one side,
Yeah, yeah.
penalty
It
boxes
reminds me of
together.
like a senior A team's barn around here nowadays,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that was one of the worst that I've ever played at, and they promised me when I signed there that they'd have their new barn by my second year. And I never saw it. I've never even been to the new one. So
Western Michigan had said they were doing all these renovations for when I was getting there, and none of that happened until I left.
classic.
Yeah.
Good recruitment technique.
Yeah, I guess it is. But anyways, how'd you end up in Bemidji? Because that's not close to BC.
Yeah, actually, I got lucky. They were there watching somebody that I was playing against in junior A, and I just happened to have a good game that game, and then started talking to them ever since. But and then I ended up being teammates with the guy that I was playing against that they were there watching. So it just ended up, small world, good
Well, and
timing.
you need players out there to attract people to come watch. And it's like when I was in Elmira, we had 8 scholarships come out of Elmira, Ontario, and we all went NCAA as teammates. And it was because we were winning and doing things that people
Yeah.
started noticing. Winning
Yeah.
gets people places, eh?
Yeah, yeah, it's funny how things work out, it's going to be weird now that WHL players can get scholarships. I don't know.
Isn't
Uh,
that something?
It's going to be weird for the kids growing up.
Do you imagine doing both, like being good enough that you can? So, like for us, it'd be playing in the OHL, and then you could go play somewhere for a couple of years and then go to Western Michigan. And you're
Yeah.
saying, so you gave me a school package and now you're giving me a school package. And it's like, but now in the NCAA, you can make money. What?
Yeah. Yeah, everything's changed so much. And that's the way it
Do you
should
imagine
be.
getting paid to be an NCAA hockey player?
Think
I
about
was
how much
I don't know
money.
what Bemidji State was like. It looked like it didn't look like Western Michigan because I'm telling you, you get 30,000 people that all have the right attitude and aren't that smart. Um, it's quite the time. And you're telling me you
Yeah.
could get paid to do that?
Yeah, I know. It's good. I mean, think about how much money those NCAA programs bring in, and the players didn't get a dime.
Well, it's true though, and it's like when you're in college and you realize you get everything you could ever imagine because they have so much money they don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And then you get to pro and you're like, "Can I please have a stick?" And they're like, "No."
We have this used stick from a few years ago here.
Here, do you want a left-handed one?
It's the wrong hand. I don't care. Yeah.
But Shout out to Western Michigan, my old school. That is now a national powerhouse. They just won the NCHC for the regular season. They won some trophy and celebrated in Kalamazoo, where I used to play at Lawson Arena. And I'm guessing that they had fun that night.
The zoo. You always have fun in the zoo.
Oh, it's a spot.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a zoo.
it is the zoo.
Have you been to the zoo then?
Yeah, yeah, I've been there.
It's a fun
Yeah.
time. I was there
Yeah.
for 4 years.
Oh, okay. So you're the
Yeah.
mayor of the zoo.
No, but I had fun and just didn't win enough hockey games back then, but now they do. So I can't imagine how much fun it is now.
Right. Yeah, that makes a big difference.
It does. So anywho, moving on then. You played 4 years at Bemidji, and then you jump into your rookie year in the coast with the Bakersfield Condors.
Yeah.
To me, I actually found uh going from the NCAA to even the coast was a big jump. I thought the AHL, I never really got a chance to do anything, but you're playing with really good players, so it can make you better. The
Yeah.
coast I found harder than NCAA to put up numbers, to do well, to feel like I was playing good because everybody was like their top NCAA players or OHL or whatever. And like they all had good sticks. They all just weren't that good that they really made you that much better. But
Yeah.
like I found it really hard to do well in the coast. But you just went out there and showed everybody what's up, eh?
Oh yeah, my first year, I don't know if it was like beginner's luck or something, but had a great start. You just get into a situation where you end up playing with a couple of good players. I mean, I played with Derlego at that point,
You two
and
both, he's a very net front guy. Like he
yeah,
scored goals, but
so much skill. Yeah,
around the net, eh?
yeah, great stick, bar down every time, even though he's a foot away from the net. Just a great stick. But and I ended up the coach liked me, which goes a long way.
That's a thing.
And yeah, that was the just like you said, a huge thing because then I went and played in the AHL for a bit,
And you
and
did pretty well.
then and did well there. Yeah, I think the size helps as well.
Didn't
The
help me.
AHL, the AHL, I thought what the biggest difference was number one, like you said, it was almost easier because they're such good passers. The passing was just 100 times better than the ECHL. But the strength as well, like the strength of the players, it was not guys that are making 500 or 600 bucks a week doing this for a good time. It was like
Right.
professionals
Yeah.
and they were like training so hard and just so
And they
strong.
were an inch away from the NHL and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a bunch of guys on NHL contracts that are training with their NHL team programs, like all. So it was a different world. But then I went back to the coast for like 5 games and got frustrated because you don't have that perfect pass onto your stick as you're screaming down the wing. So it was I did worse in the coast, I thought, than
is that
than
right?
in the NHL. Yeah.
So for me, it was I signed with Columbus, who actually didn't want me. They had said they would get first, they want a first crack at signing me, but they'd guarantee me an AHL deal. Then I got there and didn't do that well or whatever. And I hadn't been on the ice in a couple of weeks after college ended, and I didn't do well. So then they don't want to sign me, but they'd guaranteed me an AHL deal, so they don't actually want me, but they have to take me. So then they basically cut me from main camp as soon as possible, 48 hours, gonzo.
Well,
Then went to the AHL and I put up over a point a game in the preseason and I played great. And it sounded like I would made the team and I was getting an apartment. And then they're like, well, you're not a third and fourth liner and so has come down. So now we don't have room for you. So you're going to go to the coast to get some ice time. And, well, I had a very tough time when I got down there. I think I went 4 games, no points, did nothing. And then finally started getting things going. But then I wasn't doing that well, but they called me up to the AHL for like a game or two and just feeling like I was back on the radar. Like then once I went back to the coast, it just seemed easier to me because I
mm,
I felt like I was back on the radar. At least they were gonna willing to call me up,
yeah.
and then it felt easier. But when you don't see that light at the end of the tunnel, it's hard to get up for games.
Really is. Yeah, it's disheartening. You need to have some sort of motivation that there's a chance. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's
Geez,
funny you
we're getting
mentioned.
deep now, eh? We're really getting to know each other before June 14th, eh?
Yeah, I know. Maybe we'll be linings. But
Well, whichever team I'm on, I plan on winning.
yeah, that's a must.
So the goat
Um,
better put himself on my team because I'm sure he wants to win that day. Well, if he
you,
puts himself on the other team, good luck. I'll
you
take you
you
out.
guys can finally be line mates. Lordo won't be standing in your way.
I right? Finally. I'm
What is
sure he
it?
has line mates over his 10 years that he actually played with, like you, that he wants to play with. I get it.
Okay.
I'll be on the third line again. Whatever.
Think about the guys he would have played with over 10 years. What
When
an
isn't it fun getting invited back when you know how many dandies he's played with?
I
Because
know.
I've seen the roster he put out there, and it's like, well, I know he knows a lot more dandies than that, but it's like, how do you choose
Yeah. Yeah. It's well, 10 years is a very long time, and
for an import?
a lot of good players come through, and a lot of championships were won. So you're
Yeah,
leaving guys off that you won big games with, and
that you're brothers with for life. I
yeah,
say winning championships makes you brothers for life, and
yeah, we
that's
had
kind of how I
that.
do this. Right? Is when the guys I won with, I ask them to talk to me. They're like, "Yep, I'm in."
Yeah, we had that saying up on the wall in my Bemidji locker room. It was championships walk together forever, or champions walk together forever. And
It's true.
yeah,
Yeah,
very good world, the hockey world.
yeah. My Elmira Shirkings that we won in junior B, and then a bunch of scholarships happened. We still have a group chat 23 years later.
That's wild. That
Yeah.
is one
And a
of the
bunch
most
of them are coming to my
impressive.
golf tournament May 24th,
Oh,
and
good.
that's fun, right?
Yeah.
Winning is
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, it takes a special group of guys to have a group chat for 20 years, over 20
Well,
years.
it actually didn't fire back up until we were supposed to have a 20-year reunion, and then all the baloney was happening. It never happened, and then
Right.
that's how the group chat started. And it's still the guys are still funny,
Yeah. It's funny when you get back into a group chat like that, you almost revert back to who you were and the same kind of humor.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
the same jokes are still funny.
Keeps you young.
Yeah. Group chats in hockey are fun though, eh? And I still remember the day I left the Cardiff Devils chat. And I don't know why I did that because then I realized when they have a new team, they make a new group chat with that team. And you
Yeah.
can still hold on if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, some guys probably have like 12 group chats in their WhatsApp groups.
That's hockey.
I can tell you the hockey chats were a lot more fun than my work chats are, the
I,
corporate chats.
yeah. Well, I'm in heat treatment, so I have some pretty funny chats these days. Yeah. I work with a bunch of beauties that yeah, it's not that different, but I
Yeah.
understand when I was in the office all the time,
Yeah.
you gotta toe the line.
Different
Can't
world.
can't say what you can say in the locker room. Hey,
No, definitely
you
not.
can't tell people what you actually think.
It's just a lot of hello, how are you? Yes, it's a nice day, isn't it?
Look at the weather out there.
Yeah. Yeah, you
How
can't
was your
have
drive in today?
no friends allowed.
But hockey does bring you different relationships, eh? And
Oh, yeah.
when you look at the roster Joey Martin has constructed, well, that's why he is the GOAT, you know?
Yeah, seriously. It's an
Oh,
all-star team.
it is an all-star team of fantastic people.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the roster there, the only people so far announced that have not been on the podcast were this Bailey Hirewood guy, who I think was in the last testimonial I was there for, which I never got to meet him,
Oh,
um, and Joey Haddad. Can you believe
yeah.
that shit? He was my babysitter in Cardiff. He thinks he's a better cook than me, which is outrageous. And he doesn't have time for a quick chat because he's so busy.
How has he not been on the shed?
Right? And he says that he has the funniest story about me. And I know what he's talking about. And I'm totally fine with him telling it because I am who I am. And going to Belfast is fun, right?
Is he coming on? Is he
He told
scheduled?
me he would, but like he's so busy. Sometimes I don't even get the blue check marks when I write to him, you know?
You gotta get him on before June.
I totally agree. He needs to support his friend the other Joey, and
Yeah.
come on and talk to me about how much fun we're gonna have.
Yeah. Yeah. Get the people going.
Right? We got to milk this thing. And we
Yeah.
also have a jersey raffle. If people can find it on my Instagram or the
Yeah.
Tweeter thing, and go to the link and buy tickets so that we can have super amounts of fun, right?
The more tickets sold, the more fun there is in Cardiff.
What if we made so much that I could buy a round at Chippy Lane for all the boys, just a round of kebabs for the boys, you know? I just want to help my guys have fun.
Greasy K-Bobs.
Okay, so anyways, we have more to talk about. We haven't even got to Italy yet.
What else you got? Let's hear it.
Well, after your year in Aalborg, you had a good year. I remember your power play. Um, but then you go to Valpolice and score
Yeah.
63 points in 37 games. So were you just trying to go to a new country or
Yeah, I wanted to get into the DEL, and
yeah, it's a nice place.
from what everyone said is that once you're up in Scandinavia, the Central Europe just forgets about you. So I wanted to go closer into Italy and Austria and hopefully sneak my way into the Dell. But
Mm,
yeah, I ended up in Valpolice, and those buggers still owe me about 6,000 euros that I'm still waiting for in the mail. But
probably not going to see it.
probably not. It was a fun year, man. It was such a fun year. We had a great coach who his give a shit meter was one of the lowest I've ever seen in hockey. So he was like, "We got a weekend off. You guys want like 5 days off or something?" And we'd be like, "Sure, we'll
Yeah,
take that."
we'll go skiing.
Then you get on Ryanair website and see where the cheapest flights are. You find like a $20 flight and Bob's your uncle. But it was a fun year.
Well,
We
it looked like
scored a
you
lot of
ran
goals.
amok. And it looked like
We
you had, I
scored
think when I looked, there was some other guy that had like the same stats as you. So obviously
and
you two were
goals.
playing together and just zigging and zagging, eh?
Yeah, yeah, we I think we tied. Yeah. We tied in points, and we just every goal that we were in on one or the other was scoring and getting assist on. But yeah, we didn't win a lot of games.
Even
We
with 2 points a game, eh?
yeah,
That's not fun.
yeah,
Depth wins championships, eh? And some leagues you get into over there and you're the import and you have to score a ton of goals or
yeah.
they don't like you, but then you don't have the supporting cast to actually win games. It can be quite frustrating.
Yeah, you're playing 29 minutes a game and can barely lift your legs up after the game,
Kind
but
of feel like you're going to shit yourself a bit or throw up. Yeah.
yeah, throwing up for sure. And you
Yeah,
come off and you're out of breath, and your coach goes, "Can you go back out?" And you're like, "All right." So
sure.
you get a lot of points, but it's
It's
tough.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So then after that year, you were in the Ebel, which ain't far off the DEL, and you're in
Yeah.
Balzano, which is a coveted club. Is that what you'd call it? Like I hear they got some dough and they're in a good league, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, good league, beautiful city, man. One of the prettiest places I've ever been to. It's a little mountain town, ski town. And yeah, the owner has a lot of money. He
Mm,
he pretends to be cheap, but then he would walk into the room and promise some big bucks if we won this game, or random things like that. But yeah, it was fun. I was hoping at that point, I was hoping to stay in the Ebel, because that was a good league too. Yeah, it was very similar to the Dell.
yeah,
But I think after that year was when I ended up going to Japan, um,
that's right.
which, ended up being great. I look back at my career in a different country or different city every, other than a couple teams in the AHL where I played 2 years. But it was great to travel. I mean, getting paid to travel, you can't beat that. Greatest
Because
feeling.
now it costs us a lot of money to go places,
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
right? And now, like, when you know about the fun stuff out there, and you're like, but it costs that much money to go there,
Yeah.
but you want to do it.
You still want to do it, yeah.
Mm. I do have a cool one coming in 2026. Played for the Landsuit Cannibals in 07, 08, and went on a Cinderella ride to the finals and lost in overtime of game 5 of the best of 5. We were a goal away. they've brought it upon themselves to invite me back for a charity game that apparently will be in front of 5,500 fans, which I don't know why anybody wants to watch me play hockey anymore. But they're having me back like 18 years later
Wow.
to play in a charity game. And they said that they found a sponsor to pay for my flight and expenses.
Wow.
Isn't that
Somebody must have
hockey?
really liked you.
I, well, actually, I think it's a couple of my teammates that will be playing in the game, and
Uh,
one of the supporters is well, I don't know. I don't know why they're doing it, but I can't wait to go back and go to Germany. Did you ever get to Germany? Because it's a sweet spot.
Went to Oktoberfest once, and that was the only time that I got into Germany. Yeah.
Oktoberfest is a very tourist spot. When you get into the small towns and they all have their own one of those, and
Yeah.
it's with the actual Germans, that's more fun.
Yeah. Munich is all the tourists.
Hmm. But well, you did have quite the career, and it's interesting how small the hockey world is, right? Like play against you in Aalborg. I remember you because I remember that power play and how much it would piss me off, whether I was penalty killing or on the bench watching everybody be open and Alex Levitt doing a stupid duck feed around the zone. And but then we did end up beating you guys. I think it was a pretty good series. But then you see that guy shows up in Cardiff, and then I see you guys winning trophies together, and you're friends with all my friends, and I'm like, huh, that's neat, you know?
Small
And
world.
then I went over there and got naked for you.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
was like, I remember that guy kicking my ass in playoffs.
Yeah. Well, look at that tallywhacker. That's neat. What a pregame speech, eh?
Yeah, it's something you never forget.
Uh, do you remember how fast I had to get around the arena to drop the puck, and I was like dressed business casual?
All on the other side of the rink. Yeah.
Yeah. After I did the pregame speech, I went into the coach's room, and Lord was like, "You seriously have 2 minutes to be on the other side of the arena." Threw on my fancy pants, my fancy shoes, and the jersey they gave me, and ripped right around there. And then Franny was over there, and he knew what had gone on because he used that creepy guy used to be like the videographer when I do pregame speeches. Because he thought they were really funny, so he would take videos of them, which nobody can ever show anybody. But he just looked at me, and I looked at him, and he knew what had happened. I was like, he was like, oh, and he
Oh yeah.
started laughing. And then I went out to like drop the puck or whatever, and they did that video. And I just remember looking over at you guys on the blue line, and you guys were all like looking at each other, laughing, like, who the fuck is this guy?
All the fans had no idea what you just did. Oh, we knew.
Yeah, I was out there, gelled hair, business casual.
Maniac.
They had no idea.
They found out in the stands later.
Well, I guess they had somewhat of an idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's what's neat about playing for the Cardiff Devils is I played for teams and did well other places. Landsut's having me back, which means the world to me. But that they had me back for a night, and the way they treated me after I hurt my knee, was what you'd want from a hockey team. And if anybody asks me what it's like to play for them, I shout it from the rooftops how
Yeah.
great they are. And like they had me back, and it changed my life. It made me realize how much I missed being the hockey guy, how much I missed being myself. And now it made me think of doing this and being that guy and not caring what people think and get to be myself, even if I work in the real world, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing place. I remember telling Lordo and Todd when I left that if they ever needed, because sometimes you're talking to a guy and he's getting courted by a couple different teams, and I said, hey, if you ever need to like sway someone to sign with the Devils, I will get in touch with them and do a little testimonial and talk about how great you guys are because I've played, all over the place. And I've told them that it's one of the best, most professional. You get treated the best. Everything is just top-notch professional place to play. It's unbelievable.
I couldn't agree more. And when you've been places that maybe weren't like that, you
Yeah,
appreciate it so much more. And then that was part of like learning from Todd is, well, he thought giving players bagels in the morning was huge. And he was
yeah,
like, He's like, Wally, it's the smallest thing I can do. But if I bring in breakfast for the boys and they don't have to worry about eating breakfast before they get to the rink, they're going to be happier. And
Yeah,
tell people we get bagels.
yeah. The only teams that I've ever seen do that were the Canucks and the Moose, and everyone else. And Todd's right. It's such a little thing, but you remember it. You get treated like gold instead of like you're nothing, and it goes a
Yeah.
long way.
Well, I showed up in Cardiff and I guess I kind of felt like I'd been through the ringer. I had just had a great year in Denmark and then not us back and we'd won the championship. And I'm like, am I the bad guy? Am I a bad seed? And like nobody seems to care. And then you show up in Cardiff and you move in and they had a Walton 18 jersey for my son laying on the
Yeah,
crib. Uh,
Corky.
and I'm like, oh my God, like you guys care about me? So like
Yeah,
I'll do anything to win.
yeah. Honestly, it's little things like that. They treat your family well. You become family to them, and and it's
Hockey
no
family.
wonder.
You got to
It's no
do it right to have a
wonder.
hockey family, or else people leave with bad taste in their mouth, right?
And they don't want to stay. And like you
Right.
said, it's no wonder that they win so much with a culture like that. It's not always about the all-star team you put together. It's about creating a culture, buy in.
Right. And that's what these testimonials are all about. And I find it so neat that guys I played with are still there and having testimonials. And it says a lot about the Cardiff Devils and their loyalty to players and the people that do it right and the good people they have. And then you see your brothers go get their testimonial day. I can't wait to get there and support Joey Martin, you know?
I know. I'm so pumped. And my fiance is so pumped too. She's never seen me play, so she's gonna be for the first time watching me out there and actually see some.
Curious question, because I do have a research team and I saw a blue check mark that saw things I posted. Is your gal famous?
Yeah. Yeah, she
She has like 78,000 followers or something.
sometimes I like to give her a hard time, and when people ask what she does, I say she's an influencer. She hates that. But yeah, she was on HGTV for like 10 years or 12 years. She did like 4 or 5 shows on HGTV. And
And she could build stuff.
oh, yeah, yeah, she's
So she does she
very,
does she do the building around the house and you're doing
oh,
the laundry?
actually, really funny story. When I met her, she said, "I'm moving over to Vancouver Island and I'm buying a fixer-upper and I'm gonna renovate it and make it really nice." And I was like, "Oh yeah, for sure. I can help. Like I'm pretty good with tools." I didn't know what she did or who she was, and she was probably in her head like, "I don't know,
I don't
buddy.
need
I'm
your
not gonna let you touch my tools." So, and
you
that's
can
actually
carry the
the
wood and hold it.
that was the second time that I put my foot in my mouth with her because I was, trying to like brag a little bit to her when I met her, and I was like, well, I've got a good like amount of Twitter followers. I've got a pretty good social media following, and
Pretty
she
good
was
game.
probably like, sure, buddy, like what a loser this guy is. So yeah, once I learned, I was like, oh man, what an idiot. I'm not good with tools compared to her. But like you said, she just tells me what to do and what walls to knock down and what rubble to
And then
carry.
you bring the muscle and then she can bring the
Exactly.
talent.
Exactly. We're a good team. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll have to invite her as a collaborator on this. And then if she shares that and goes to all those people, maybe we'll finally be famous.
The shed's gonna get like 20,000 new followers. Boom.
Right? It's brick by brick, but you just never know who's famous and who's not. I just want to talk to guys.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's funny, how slowly things grow, but then when they explode, they explode.
Well, you never know if this will ever explode, but I'm having fun doing it every time.
That's all that matters.
That is all that matters. And I don't have that good of a social media game. I just have fun on Instagram. And it keeps me
Yeah.
entertained and having fun and smiling
Well, it's so much better than going out with the goal of trying to get a following, because
and
that's,
trying to chase money. I like talking to hockey guys about hockey, and I've had a great time today.
yeah, yeah, me too. Thank you for inviting me.
No, I can't wait to muck it up with you June 14th. Hopefully you're on my team. Or else it's going to be like Aalborg versus Sunderjyski all over again.
I was just gonna say, I came out on the losing end last time. I don't want to be against you again.
I remember the last testimonial I went to. One of like the current players, that's like in shape and has like oxygen to breathe when they skate around. Um, Somebody tried to take my puck and I, gave him a whack and I'm like, don't take my puck. And somebody he came up to me, he's like, "Oh, you guys are like really giving her out here, eh?" I'm like, "Well, this is my only hockey game this year.
Yeah, this is the Stanley Cup for me, buddy.
I either won my last game or I lost, right?"
That's so true. You don't want to lose.
Oh man, but the roster Joey's put together makes me so goddamn excited. It's I just can't believe the guys that are gonna be congregating for a weekend of fun.
Yeah, and like you said, it's no surprise. He is the GOAT, so he could
Hmm.
probably have his pick of the litter who he wants to bring back.
He sure could. I think everybody will be there that he asks because nobody wants to miss this one.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Neither would I. And I just so Joey hears it again. Went to International Silver Stick, and well, the Elmira Kings beat the Thorold Blackhawks for the Southern Cup when I played for them, and I beat his brother JJ, who was there for Wally night and enjoyed the show. But then I went to International Silver Stick with my U13 boys, and I get to the game, and they got their lineup with their sponsors out in the lobby, and there's a Martin 88 on the team. And I take a selfie with it, and I'm like, "Marty, is there any relation here?" And while I was waiting for him to see it, I went to the other coaches on the Thorold team. I'm like, "So I see there's an 88 Martin on the team. Would that kid know who Joey Martin is?" And he's like, "Well, that's his nephew." And
Yeah,
then they brought Joey's older brother over, and I met him and the kid we were going to muck it up against. Took a fun selfie, sent it to Joe, and then my Canucks went out and beat the Thorold Blackhawks again.
nice.
So now
Yeah,
I've beat both of his brothers. Sorry, Joe.
such a small world.
Yeah, it is a small world, and it's so fun when you run into someone like that in an arena, and that's hockey.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they
100%.
are coming to Cardiff, the nephew and Joey's brother. So, can't wait to see you guys again. Sorry we beat you, but it was fun seeing you at the arena. Hockey's fun, and it was fun competing against the Martins again.
You just threw some salt on the wound for them.
Well, we didn't win either. We lost in the finals.
No.
So, what are you gonna do? That's why we have to go out and win tonight at 6 p.m. Go Canucks.
And then Wednesday.
Right. And then it'll be time for the semis, and then it's time to win some stuff. Winning
Yeah,
is fun, right? You know about that.
that's when it's the most fun.
When you guys won the league, which is weird, right? You win the regular season. I was about to shut this down, but you guys won the league, which is still a regular season, and you still have playoffs to come. Isn't it weird how the UK does that?
Yeah, and it's tough to figure out when you're there because like it was my first year, but it was a lot of the guys' second, third, or fourth years,
And they get it.
and they're like, no, this game in October is actually more important than the game in May. So let's make sure we win this one. And it's a grind. Holy,
It
is it a grind. But yeah,
every game matters so much if you want to actually win the league.
yeah. And then when we won it, we won both that year, the playoffs and the league, but everyone was happier and celebrated more winning the league. So it was crazy.
It is crazy. I never got to win the league. We lost by 2 points both times I played in Cardiff, and exhausting stuff those last few months when every game is game 7 of the finals.
Yeah. And then you think back about how many 1 or 2 points you could have picked up along the way. It's haunting.
Yeah, it would be. And then when they shut that league down on you, and you guys would have won the championship, and I would have got to feel a part of it because I was there and got
Yeah.
naked, that hurt me too, even from
Yeah,
over
my
here.
parents my parents had flights booked to come for the final weekend. We were up like I think by like 6 points, and it wasn't guaranteed that we were gonna win, but
But you were gonna win.
we thought we were gonna win.
Oh, do you
And
remember the roster of players you had on that team that I got naked for? Like, what a
yeah,
squad. Venti
unbelievable.
loved my tallywhacker. Duggan, I mean, you guys had such great people on that team. Mosey, Samuel Jardine.
Yeah,
We'll see him in June. What
he'll
a
be
guy.
there.
Last testimonial I was at, me and him really locked horns, and we tried to see who could have the most fun.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get a big jersey raffle then, so you can have extra fun.
Right? Yeah, I agree. So hopefully people buy tickets to this Martin raffle that's at 2Ls and Hockey Tales on Instagram or on the Twitter majiggy thingy, right?
The tweeter.
Yeah, maybe I'll tag you in it so you can share it too. And then it takes everybody to win, and then everybody's having fun, right?
Damn right.
It does take everybody to win, doesn't it? Go Cardiff Devils,
Go Devs!
right? And if you haven't seen it, my gold helmet's behind me from Denmark.
Yeah, must be nice.
But I'm looking forward to competing June 14th or being your teammate, right?
One or the other. I
One or
hope
the
we're
other.
teammates.
The game is on. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Poper and Wally.